Yesterday, somebody mentioned they really like the logos that we have for the products. So I thought I would start with saying a few words about why we have this as the logo of Marvin Live. So maybe about 2 years ago, we came across a set of problems that we wanted to provide a solution for. Basically, the pen and paper usage in design sessions among chemists. And when we started to explore that with a prototype that basically connected two Marvins together in two browsers, we started to explore a really nice word that is there in a molecule design. So going back to the slides from yesterday, the guys are separated all over the world. And the process itself is very, very challenging. It's very iterative. There's a lot of noise from which they need to find the key data points. Everybody has their own method to doing that. So this is the space, essentially, in which we had to solve the pen and paper problem. So Marvin Live is focusing on the design part, specifically on mining available chemical and biological data, exploring the chemical space around candidates, and preparing for the synthesis of compounds. So I have a little video that shows roughly what we can do. So here we're in a lounge. You can think of it as a chat room. You log in, and you start adding your compounds, the things that you have problems with. So we select 4 possible candidates, CMET inhibitors, I think, and we just select the first one. We have a good number of sources that can feed us data to prevent mistakes and so on. So we turn on something that fetches assay information from us, I think from Campbell, and we also configure our 3D viewer with the same protein from the protein data bank. So we can look around in that scene, figure out where we are against the pre-docked ligand that is in that file. But for now, we will turn off that decoration. And we can start working on our idea. So let's remove that thing that they added for optimization, I think, and we will try to do a scaffold hop by modifying one part of the compound. And in the meantime, we can review how we're doing against the original the original coordinates of the atoms of the ligand. So when we come to a good stage, we can, of course, save that. So this is a milestone that we reached. We really like that. But there are other questions regarding this compound. So we also enable a model that we have. This happens to do. This happens to predict hERG binding, and we have another guy in the room with us, Pierre in this case, and he's concerned. So let's switch the tools that we use. Let's look at Fischem properties and hERG binding, and Pierre will try to help us. So he has an idea on how to change polarity. I think this is an oxodiazole group that he is trying to add. We can see how he's doing that. So even if we're not paying full attention, we can highlight where the changes are. This is the Marvin.js trick that Effie talked about. And we can also tell you how the properties might change, so you can judge whether that's a good change or not. Everybody liked this as well, so we save that, assign a task to it. And there can be other questions going forward, like we can check what the database says about exemplified structures. We really like this because the closest similar compound was very, very far. That's a good sign. And much, much later, we could be working on planning the synthesis or looking at possible screen compounds, so we would use a different tool. So I think you get the idea. We use the appropriate tool to guide the design. And then finally, at the end of a session regarding a series, we have collected many, many ideas. So with the overview, you can pick the best ideas, you can change the task assignments, you can set which data you use to make the final comparison. So solubility could be key. So let's look at that. We changed some of that. And then all of this goes into a report. So we have Office documents, obviously. We have chemical structure files, obviously. and we can also save this through web services to any location, ideally the ELN. And well, this is how the report looks like. So there's an overview and then one slide per snapshot. So some of the moving components of this whole thing. And by the way, I can show you the ELN stuff outside on the demo station with the IDBSE workbook. So we have this one component which brings us all the data that could be useful. These are just some generic examples. So we have a widget that gives us a 3D view of things. We have a widget that gives us keys and values, numbers. We have something that gives us links, but you have seen images, and there are many, many other uses. These are configurable live widgets for any data that you have. Over the last 2 years or so, we collected over like 60 plugins, categorized into mining, exploring, and planning. It looks like this. And I think what you should take away from this, I hope you can see the colors, only some of these are ChemAxon related. So it's a very, very open system. There will be many, many useful things that ChemAxon doesn't provide and perhaps won't even provide in the future. And what this gives you is, well, you use your databases, prediction models, workflows, documents, and as a combination of live widgets and useful key values, you can make a decision and get the same in a report. The other component that made this work is the collaborative aspects, the interactivity. So the basic level is the molecule level collaboration, where what I do is visible to others and what they do is visible to me. We use all the Marvin.js tricks here, and we couldn't use anything else. Then there's collaboration on series of compounds, where all the collected ideas can be judged together with the team on a review meeting. Then there's project-level collaboration. This is what we started with. We picked the one that we need to work on now, and you can have as many of these as you want. And then there's partner-level collaboration. So the thing that we didn't show in the video is that we logged into the appropriate domain. You can have as many domains as you want for as many partners as you want to work with, or as many larger departments you have. And finally, this thing comes in 2 pieces. So there's a cloud version, and then there's an on-premise version. We try to choose the best providers. You get a single tenant setup. We do all the bundling, all the customization, upgrade, maintenance, everything taken care of. There's flexible payment. And perhaps the nicest thing is that there is only a single address to keep in mind. You don't need to know the address to the database guy. You only have the address to the ChemAxon guy. The on-premise version is similar. So we tried to keep the original premise of having a simple system that works on pen and paper. But we are excited to see where else we go with this. Thank you.